Good afternoon. My name is Tanmay Kayande. For the last decade, I've been the trusted advisor for executives from startups to SMBs to enterprise-scale organizations. I've found the patterns in the architecture of those that lead their field. I know because I've designed and developed their systems and processes using AI, platforms, models, and frameworks to positively affect billions of users. Now, bring my insights to you. Welcome to session 1. Have you ever asked an AI a question and received a strange, unhelpful, or completely wrong answer? We all have. But what if I told you there's a skill to asking questions in a way that gets you exactly what you need? The good news is, you don't need to be a data scientist or a machine learning engineer to do this. Everyone can write a prompt. By the end of this brief session, you'll be able to first define what a prompt is in the context of large language models, and second, define prompt engineering and explain why it's such an important iterative process. To do that, we'll quickly cover the 3 concepts today. First, the core definition of a prompt. Second, what prompt engineering is all about. And finally, why it's a process of trial and error. The core definitions that we're going to be covering are covered on pages 6 and 7 of Boonstra's white paper. So let's start with the absolute basic. What is a prompt? In the simplest terms, a prompt is the input you provide to an AI model to get the response. Think of it as an instruction, the question, or the starting text you can give the model. This input can be a simple text question, but it can also include other things like images, and that's what gets into different modes of inputs. We won't get into that right now. Now, while anyone can write a basic prompt, getting a high-quality response requires a bit more effort. And that brings us to our second concept. What is prompt engineering? We can define prompt engineering as the process of designing high-quality prompts that guide large language models to produce accurate outputs. It's not just about what you ask, but how you ask it. This process involves tinkering to find the best words, optimizing the prompt's length, and evaluating its style and structure to match the task you have in mind. This leads directly to our third concept. Why is prompt engineering an iterative process? Well, crafting the perfect prompt is often complicated because so many factors can change the AI's answer. Things like the specific model you're using, its training data, your word choice, the structure of your request, and the context you provide all matter immensely. Because of this, using inadequate or poorly designed prompts can lead to ambiguous or inaccurate responses, making it difficult for the model to give you meaningful output. You'll almost never get the perfect response on your first try. It's a cycle of writing the prompt, seeing the result, and refining your prompt to get closer to your goal. Let's look at a quick non-technical example. Imagine you're lost and you ask someone for directions, a basic zero-shot prompt. This would be like saying, where's the coffee shop? The person you're asking has to guess which shop you mean, if you want to walk or drive, where you're starting from. The answer might not be very helpful. Now, a well-engineered prompt would be like asking, can you give me the walking directions to the nearest coffee shop that's open right now and also has free Wi-Fi? I'm currently standing on the corner of Main Street and 2nd Avenue. You see the difference? The second request is specific. It provides context and clearly defines what a good answer looks like. That's the core idea of prompt engineering. Let's pause for a quick mental exercise. Think about the last time you asked a chatbot or an AI assistant, how could you rephrase that question to be more specific? What context could you have added to guide it towards a better, more accurate answer? Just take a moment to think about it. The simple act of rethinking your question is the first step to becoming a prompt engineer. So the main thing to remember today is that prompt engineering is a skill of giving clear, specific, and well-structured instructions to an AI to get the best possible result. It's the process that often takes a few tries to get just right, and in our next session we'll build on this by looking at LLM output configurations. And this is going to be a bit technical, but it won't really be needed until we get to the far end of the course. This is where you're going to be able to learn things like temperature, top K, and get even more control over your AI's responses. Once again, this is a bit more on the back end, but it's better for you to know how these things work. So for now, thank you